Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Let's Be Blunt with Montel, where we explore the world of cannabis and the incredible people shaping its future. Today's episode is special as we take a deep dive into a project that intertwines history, culture, and innovation. The remarkable story of the Little Beach Harvest. Little Beach Harvest, or LBH, is more than just a cannabis dispensary. It's a tribally owned business operated and based in Shinnecock Nation Territory in eastern Long Island, New York. By merging modern cannabis innovation with the deep-rooted traditions of the Shinnecock people, LBH stands as an inspiring testament to resilience, entrepreneurship, and community empowerment. Joining me today to discuss LBH's incredible journey is Jay Randolph Wright, the product marketing manager for LBH and a key player in shaping its brand identity, expanding its market reach, and fostering customer connections. And we're also going to be joined briefly by Mr. Sean Boyd, known by his Shinnecock name, Mish Makwa, who serves as brand specialist for LBH, contributing his expertise to event coordination and cultivating meaningful relationships. Jay, Sean, welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of the show. And Sean, I hope I pronounced your name right.
Yes, sir, you did. Thank you. And thank you for having us. It's a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you both for being here and being a part. Look, can you tell me a little bit about yourselves, a little bit about your background before we get involved and start talking about LBH? Let's start with you, Sean. Tell me about your background.
Well, as I said, my name is Sean Boyd. I'm a member of the Shinnecock Nation out here on Southampton, New York, out here on Long Island. Professionally, a little bit about myself. I graduated from SUNY Delhi with a bachelor's degree in business administration, focused in hotel resort management. After that, I came back home out here to Southampton, where I landed a job in the retail space out here at a liquor store named Bottlehampton, where I now manage the inventory and work with the manager for deliveries. In the time of doing that, I've had the pleasure of being able to work here at Little Beach Harvest with Jay and the team, as you said, working as brand specialist to build relations with the brand partners that we have, build relations with potential partners out there in the industry, as well as doing media and things like this. Pleasures of being on podcasts such as yourself. Also working with the team as far as events, working with the nation as far as trying to build the relation between LBH and the nation itself, and just trying to keep the ball moving here for Little Beach Harvest and the cannabis industry.
Cool. Jay, how about you, sir?
Hey, yeah, lovely to be here. I'm Jay Wright. I am the product marketing manager for Little Beach Harvest. I started off actually in the same job field as Sean. Actually, we were both 10 years into the retail industry. Both made it up to be managers in that field. I ran a small mom and pop style liquor store over in my area, and then other vicarious jobs from like CDL driving, and just finding other different ways of income out here while you live in the Hamptons, because it's like a little bit tough, but you get it done. Any strong brother as would. And I found out that our nation was doing a cannabis industry dispensary. And I was very much inclined to get into that preference because that's always what I was into when I was growing up. Since a young kid, I was always into Habatness and just doing other things that kind of surfaced around the plant. And I was a consumer at the same time of it. And so when I found out that my nation was doing something, I was kind of, geared up like, hey, like, let's be on this team and let's get it done. And I've been here for about 2 years now. We're now moving into just finished doing our anniversary. And, it's all nice and easy over here. I love it.
Look, before we get into LBH, let's talk a little bit about the Shinnecock tribe and the Shinnecock people. I mean, I'm looking at a screen and, that people are going to go, they don't look like they're Native American. Just tell me a little bit about the history of the tribe and how long you've been there, how long it's existed. Give me a little background. Either one of you.
So we here, the tribe, have been here since the beginning of existence. That's what we believe. I mean, as far as the town and recognition, we're the people there on the seal, there on the town. So we were here before the town was founded in Southampton. So 1640, whatever that is. We are fortunate enough as the people.
You said we've been here since the dawn of time. However, and please forgive me. I am ignorant on how we crossbreed, but you both look African American, so therefore the Shinnecock people were there before African Americans came. Then we
Yes, sir.
clearly intermingled and bred. So give me a little bit more history like that.
Well, yeah, you have to remember that being here, we're first contact people. So 1640 is a long time, you know what I mean, for people to have been here. So, of course, during those times when, minorities were brought here and African Americans were brought to Long Island through, the slave trade or through whatever, the Shinnecock people were someone who intermingled and, you know what I mean, and someone that as time went on, other people kind of joined communities as we were still here. We are fortunate enough to be on our sovereign land and our Aboriginal land. Yes, we are, tightly more confined onto our territory itself, but we have always been here on Long Island, which is something that unfortunately a lot of other tribes cannot say. A lot of us were moved from one place to another and relocated on the territories that they are now standing on. But we have fortunately been here from the beginning. So what you're seeing is the resilience of a people. What you're seeing is a mixture of bloodlines. What you're seeing is a long-standing, almost tradition of just being here and being a Shinnecock people. We may not look at what people see as the traditional Native American, because again, this was long before they were taking pictures of what the traditional Native American looked like. This is, a face of the Shinnecock people, and we are a diverse-looking people, but we are Shinnecock and we are Native nonetheless.
And about how big is the tribe, or how big is the tribe? Can I ask?
Jay?
The square, the acreage of
number
the tribe, the amount of people. How many would we say, Sean? I think I want to say because there's people who live on and off territory, so that goes on, but on territory, I would say there's probably about 1,200 or so, right?
Okay.
Or less, about 1,200 or less. Maybe around
I mean,
there.
when you get this 10,000 people to come out to an event, this is just people from all over Long Island.
Yeah, again, we are located here in the heart of Southampton. So, we're a part of this community as just as far as everyone else. And the Hamptons is a very accessible place. It is a very, a destination for people to travel to. So when we are fortunate enough as a nation to hold, whether it's our annual powwow, every year during Labor Day weekend, or it's the events here that we hold at Little Beach, we draw people, we draw a crowd. People want to see what's happening at our events. People want to attend a fun event, and what we do is host fun events.
Well, here, right, when we start, Sean, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about Little Beach Harvest and what it's all about, what it is, and why this project is so meaningful to the Shinnecock Nation.
Well, as you mentioned, Little Beach Harvest is a dispensary owned and operated here by the Shinnecock Indian Nation. We are the first licensed dispensary here in Southampton. Being a federally recognized tribe, we were able to create our own ordinances and regulations as far as cannabis and how we handle our cannabis, divisions and stuff like that. It is separate from New York State, but we do follow very stringent, very similar laws and regulations as New York State does. We were able to mirror, if not do it better here on territory, because we are more tight-knit and we can have more regulation and control. So Little Beach Harvest, again, is the first licensed operated dispensary here on the nation. And it's a big thing for us. It took a long time for the tribe to be able to agree on an ordinance, to be able to vote on an ordinance, for us to be able to move all this forward. When we originally as a tribe started this project, it was under the medical laws and regulations, because that's what it was here in New York at the time. This project we've been operational for 2 years. It's been almost 8 years, 10 years in the making, as far as legislation, as far as ordinance, as far as infrastructure, as far as getting this agreed upon. It's been a long time coming for us. So for the tribe, this is a coming together of everything that we've worked for and showing the years of getting to the spot and opening this as a sovereign nation and being able to exert our sovereignty in an economic way. It's very hard for us as a nation to find different economic avenues for us to be sovereign in and for us to have opportunities. It's always hard to get into the door in any avenue, but it seems to be even harder for us as a nation and for us being tribal members. So this place being open, the dispensary being open, is not just a foot in the door for us as a nation, but a foot in the door for our opportunity for tribal members to engage in this larger cannabis market that is growing here in New York, that is fast moving, and that we should have a stake and an opportunity in.
So you guys run the dispensary, but I guess you reach out to other Indigenous people and tribal members to actually provide you with your grows, or are you completely vertical? Jay, why don't you answer that?
Right. So we are vertically integrated. So we are stable enough to work with pretty much anyone who wants to work with us as well. But we also have satellite growers from the nation right now. Currently, we have individuals who have started up their own grow and their own brand and their own business field of moving into the cannabis, whether it be from gummies, vapes, flower, the topicals, tinctures. It doesn't matter. They're learning and evolving themselves and becoming entrepreneurs and business men and women, because that's what it's always been about here at Little Beach Harvest. It's always been about giving people a place who haven't always had that early break in their life to find somewhere where to be. We're giving that space for them to grow and become entrepreneurs themselves, while also helping out the Little Beach Harvest and the community and the brand itself uplive and become something great as well, because we're housing those individuals and giving them a place and making this place, like Sean said, we are very tight knit and also very pungent on like our lab testing. We make sure it all goes through the right procedures all through New York State. We make sure that everything is up to code and safe for all our consumers, whatever needs they are, but a lot of the business here is ran by those tribal entities, along with Little Beach Harvest itself as the brand. We have Pashawn here as a brand. We have Big Boy Buzz. We have Eastern Botanicals, Shinnecock Hemp, Stony Shores. So these are brands and individuals who have now done something for themselves and have a place to be at to start their own thing.
Well, the cannabis industry is growing rapidly, but it is challenging, especially for Indigenous communities. I mean, have you found that most of your sales are with just your tribal people, or are you selling to people outside of tribal?
So to be honest with you, it's a collective of both, but majority of our community around us. So our community, we're very tight knit. We're in the eastern part of Long Island. We're in Southampton, New York. So it's townships and towns every which way where you would go, about 15 minutes apart from each other. The furthest part of this island is Montauk. So we get people all the way from Montauk, all the way from westward of, let's say, Bohemia and Wyandanch and Lindenhurst. So all those people interested in our products and interested in who we are, also because we're tax free, we have a community base that's very wide and large now because of our meaningful directive of who we want to serve here.
Is your footprint on tribal land?
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. So our dispensary is on tribal land. It's on the highway, Montauk Highway. It's right off the strip of there. It's a 6,000 square foot building. We offer consumption on the side of the building. We also are changing up the inside layout for our upstairs to offer lounge experiences. We host events here. It's all about community building. And that's the one thing that me and Sean have always been tasked for, is making sure, because we're from here, we're from the nation, and we're also lovers of the plant, that we would hope to know what was good for our area and our community. So we create these environments and these places and these things for people to feel as though they could be a part of, because the one thing I always say is cannabis has many different faces. And when you're out where we are, it's such a diverse area. Yes, money around it and prone, but there's so much else around it and so many other entities that create this township, this community. So giving them places to be instead of hiding out in their car, garage, blah, 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 to go smoke a joint, You can come down here and smoke one in our lounge, our patio area. I just got some igloos to hot box, do this place is meant for its people and the community around it. So we welcome everything and everyone. So that's what it's meant for.
Well, Sean, you're actively involved in building relationships and creating, customer experiences. What makes LBH more unique when it comes to connecting with customers? Is this because to have consumption on location is different than some of the other dispensaries that are in New York, right?
Big time.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big thing. Again, with us being able to create our own ordinances, our own rules and regulations, we can do a lot of things that other dispensaries cannot. For example, our building itself is where it's located. Again, it's right here on the front side of our territory. Again, it's a prime location. We can host events and things like that of that nature because we are here on sovereign territory and it is our land. It's not technically New York State land. So with that, we can give our customers a different experience. Last year at our 420 event, we're rounding the corner to plan for this year's 420 event. We had over 1,000 people in attendance. And it was people from, as Jay said, of all walks of life, from everywhere around this community, joining together to, again, publicly consume and hang out and just enjoy an open space and not have to look over their shoulder and worry about where they are and what they're doing, which is a very hard thing to do, especially out here in Southampton. Yes, you can consume anywhere here in New York, but there is still a bit of a stigma around cannabis. And having these people in this space and getting all these people from this different community, because as Jay said, cannabis has no face, in this community to be amongst each other, it was beautiful to see. You know what I mean? It was great for people to have an experience like that and to be able to consume openly together and be able to gain knowledge from each other and be able to have an experience like that. It's a different thing when you step here in the Little Beach Harvest.
Wow. Well, Jay, now, LBH is known for its expertly curated product selection. Can you talk a little bit about how you choose the products that you carry and what customers have come to expect?
For sure. Well, honestly, I'm a sativa person. New York is a sativa energy. So we make sure that we keep a lot of those sought after products, strains that are really like New York homage style, and also with a little bit of that what would we say, that coastal vibe to it, because we're by water. So everything is intentional with the products that we pick and what we have. I like to have a lot of people ask for something uplifting or things to help them go to sleep at night, because a lot of our demographic is, at this point, because where we're at locally, our demographic is about that 45 and up. So a lot of them want to relax. A lot of them want to be able to chill, had a long day. And then the other half, they want to be up because they like to smoke and do things throughout their daytime, which is understandable. And I'm that person. So I kind of like to keep both of those aspects in line with us. I like to meet with the cultivators, the people who are growing this flower, because I need to understand there's always a message behind it and the meaningness of working with with an indigenous tribe, and actually like the plant actually means something to us, and the connection that we have with each other means something to us. It's not just a business deal. It's about relationships and the sincerity behind this plant. So a lot of the things behind it is me looking to understand what the daily psyche of what this consumer might actually need and what's going to help them, opposed to what's going to turn over faster in dollars. Because really it's about what helps our community, give them something that they could trust. So I like to just meet up with the growers, and I hand select those ones that are the higher tiers from like 18 to 30. And then I would have my lower tier stuff that basically helps the people who are just trying to still relax throughout their day, but still be functional.
Sure thing. Well, here, before we go any further, go ahead and give out some stats. Where can people go if they want to hear more information, either one of you?
So right now you can find us on, Little Beach Harvest on Instagram. It is at Little Beach Harvest, just all together. And we have a Facebook called, it's Little Beach Harvest Dispensary. or you could Google us on our website, which is www.littlebeachharvest.org.
Well,
And
I
then
love
for
the
a
fact.
personal account, I have my Stony Shores. You can follow me that on there.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, I love the fact that Little Beach Harvest is committed to giving back. I mean, Jay, tell me a little bit about, how Little Beach Harvest supports the entire Shinnecock community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, we actually do a quarterly thing to where we give 4% back to the nation. Everything that's taken, and all sales fees or everything like that. Like I said, we're tax exempt, but the money that we do earn is collected and a portion of that is given back to the nation, on a quarterly basis. So we're making sure that we're doing something and still giving back to the nation and making sure they are whatever needs is met, that they can find that with us, that we're also not just here to employ Shinnecock staff, because we do have Shinnecock staff amongst us, but not only give them that job to where they can work, but they can have product in, or they could just also collect and reap the benefit of just being of an indigenous descent.
Well, tell me a little bit, either one of you, tell me a little bit about where you think LBH is going to go from here. I mean, this is a fledgling industry. We're just getting warmed up. So,
Uh,
I mean, what are your sights for the future?
the sky is the limit, honestly, no pun intended, with cannabis and with LBH. Where we're at right now, we're in such a great area, great spot of just ideas flowing. Uh, a lot of people, a lot of class people want to work with us. We want to do things where we give these event spaces for people to have activations and be a part of something. We want to take the brand, not only Little Beach Harvest flower dispensary, as vapes, as gummies. We want to take that into the outside market as well, or to other indigenous tribes. We want to distribute. We want to help and bridge the gap that other Native American tribes may not have that accessibility to, as what we were talking about before, because it is so hard in other nations and other tribes to find that outreach, to find a reputable or somebody that you could trust, another nation you could trust to help guide you and be there with you, that's already kind of stepped into this limelight of being into the cannabis industry and kind of show you the ropes, or at least even help you with product because you can't find any. So we want to work on our distributing. We want to get that out there. We want to work on our delivery service that we're working on. And our events, like I said, we have our 420 thing that we have going on right now, where we'll do, we have the High Tide. I'm calling it the High Tide Canafest. And so it'll be April 19th and April 20th. And right now I want to make it's a fest that we're doing here with Dave East, Funk Flex. We have other brands, cannabis brands, that's going to be a part of that as well. But I want to turn that into a festival. I want us to have a yearly festival on our territory that we're already doing as well. We have a festival that takes place on our tribe that had over 10,000 people. So I plan on taking that and putting that entity out there as well, and just growing, giving people somewhere to go.
You said you were talking about the delivery service. Do you get to deliver
Yeah.
off the reservation, off your tribal lands?
Yes.
You do.
And yep. And we also have a drive-through at our building as well. Yeah.
So, but it's interesting that you are governed by tribal law and not federal law, right?
Yeah, we are governed by Shinnecock ordinances due to the fact that we are a federally recognized tribe. So the federally recognized government gives us the authority to create our own ordinances within certain limitations or statutes. But we have more free range to do what we will.
It's interesting because, I mean, as I think about this, do you get to send product across state lines to other tribal locations? Can you do that?
If they're part of a tribal trade agreement, we're allowed to work with them on the business side.
Wow, very, very interesting. And again, do people have to go through any special steps to if, let's say I'm not a tribal member, but I want to come out and shop at your place, do I have to go through anything in particular to make sure that's okay for me to do?
You just pull up,
Absolutely
and
not.
as long as you have a valid identification, some sort of a valid identification, you scan it as through any other dispensary on the island. It's 21 and older. You scan the ID, it goes into the system, but the system does not leak out to anywhere else. It's just wholly for our database to know, your repeated customer and what do you like to shop for and things like that. And then it's an open playing field. You'll be greeted by our bud tenders who are the greatest out here. They know cannabis very well. They're very educated on it, and they're here to help you. They're adored by a lot of the area. We get great reviews about our bud tenders. It's crazy. I love it though. And it's all the run of the mill. We have display cases that show you tons of products that we have, and it's just as in any other dispensary, but very, very much more nicer and more 420 friendly. With like how we were saying, we're allowing people to consume on site.
It's very interesting though, but the fact that you are not constrained by federal law, but constrained only by
Right.
tribal law, as you watch what's going on in the rest of the nation from a federal standpoint. I mean, they're talking about descheduling, not descheduling, but actually rescheduling. Do you have to deal with that same issue on tribal lands?
I mean, technically, no, because we again created our own ordinance and things like that. What it would really do is just kind of open up the market for New York State in general. Again, we are sovereign, but yet we are still a part of this kind of whole network as far as how cannabis relations are handled as far as business. And I guess if it's rescheduled, at the federal level, maybe it allows more interstate commerce between people as far as cannabis. We can already do that as far as, again, nation to nation, but as dealing with other entities in the cannabis industry, it's kind of handled the same way.
Can you provide your products that are Shinnecock Nation kinds of products? Can you put them in other dispensaries that aren't part of the nation?
Yeah,
Right
like
now,
sorry, Sean. We could send our products to other places, other entities, as long as they would accept them.
And as long as you meet the requirements for, I guess, non-tribal nation dispensaries?
Correct.
Wow. And what kind of changes do you hope that you can inspire, not only, when it comes to, because clearly if you're getting 10,000 people at some of your events, you're doing way better than a lot of other cannabis entities, I think, in the state of New York. I mean, do you think that you can kind of lead the way or have people at least be inspired by what you're doing?
I think that we definitely can inspire a lot of people. I think that we have a lot of eyes on us as far as the industry now and what we're doing. We have been partnered with and done events with the Long Island Cannabis Coalition, who does a lot of tight work with the legislation here in New York and the other dispensaries and the people on the New York State side. And they recognize the work that we're doing. You know what I mean? They want to work with us. They want for us to be able to do business with them. It comes down to kind of almost on a political side on whereas the New York State OCM will recognize our licenses and allow us to do more business openly. Again, we can do business, but there's always, the New York State always wants something out of it. They always want their hands in it. They always want tax money, and they're not going to get money from us. And that's where they're iffy about allowing us to do business. But as far as we're concerned, we operate at the same level as anyone here in New York State, as far as standards, as far as regulations, as far as our product. And we're just excited for anyone who's willing to do business with us to do business with us.
And if your product is off tribal lands and in another dispensary, then it is taxed.
Yeah, I mean, technically, they would be getting the tax dollars through those business sales. So at that end, we don't see where the confrontation is. We're hoping that, again, as we continue to just do what we're doing here at Little Beach Harvest and to show the example that we are here for what, native cannabis industry can be, we're proud to be that example. And we're proud to keep continuing to do this work to hopefully be able to open the doors to do more business with New York State entities.
One more time, give them the stats of where they can go to get more information. Either one of you.
You can find us on Instagram, Little Beach Harvest. You can find us on Facebook, Little Beach Harvest Dispensary, and then you could also Google us at www.littlebeachharvest.org.
Great. And if you had to look ahead, put a crystal ball on. Tell me what it looks like in 5 years for LBH.
Oh man, expansion
5 years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expand. We want 5 years from now. I see us. We have, like I said, this is a 6,000 square foot building. On the side of the building, we have space to grow. For us to have our own cultivation sites for Little Beach Harvest itself, hold distribution and manufacture in place for employed Shinnecock members. I want to have a lounge area for us for when we want to just show and host concerts, events for people. Tons of stuff, man. The world is our oyster, honestly.
Again, wow. My goodness. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here and sharing the story. I mean, it's really inspirational, and I applaud you on being able to do something that, has a whole community backing, and your, community outreach, and you're also, sharing with your community. Unbelievable. And I wish you well and wish you the best. At any point in time you want to come back and talk to us, tell us about how you're making some other strides and inroads, let us know for sure. Okay.
Thank you. Maybe next year, we saw that you did a 420 podcast with Method Man. Maybe next year you can come out for our event and you can do your podcast here for the 420 special that we're doing.
Well, that we'll keep that in mind. I'll make sure I reach out to our team and see if we can pull that off for you. Okay.
That'd be awesome. That'd be amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And again, reach out to us if you got anything that's changing. We've given out the stats enough for people to understand and recognize it, but much success. Take care of the family of yours and, keep doing what you're doing. Okay.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Appreciate
you guys for your time, sir.
You take care of yourselves. Be well. And you keep tuning in to Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Thanks for joining me on Let's Be Blunt with Montel. Please make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell to be notified when new episodes post each week. We'd love to hear your feedback also, so please send us your comments. Military Makeover is so grateful for the support of Purple Heart Homes, a nonprofit organization that rebuilds and transforms the homes for our veterans.
Our heroes come home with sacrifices most of us can't imagine. As a veteran myself, I've been there and founded Purple Heart Homes to help.
When I tell the story of Purple Heart Homes, it's the freedom to not have to depend on somebody else to do the simple everyday things in life.
Visit phhusa.org/makeover to learn how you can help.